All right. Yeah. Alexander, head coach Brenda Frese, and Diamond Miller. Coach, we'll let you start off with.
Yeah, I mean, obviously not one of our better games. I guess I'm encouraged to be able to see how close we were able to keep it, just given that it was really an off night by a lot of players. I thought we came out early. Second quarter really hurt us clearly. The run that they were able to make in conference play, if you have a quarter like that, it's typically going to get you beat. So credit Indiana. I thought they were the more physical team for 40 minutes. They were aggressive. We every time they had to make a big shot and a big play, you had so many players on their roster that wanted to make them. And it was disappointing from our end, but areas that we can improve on, and a great top 10 matchup for us to be able to learn. And again, anytime you see a negative assist to turnover ratio, we're not sharing the basketball, we're not trusting the process, and areas that we've got to be able to improve on.
We're gonna do questions for the players first so they can shower.
Oh, okay.
So if you want to go ahead, Kareem.
Devin, can you give me your mindset kind of going into that fourth quarter and what you guys talked about going into that fourth? Because you obviously came out and super aggressive and really tried to, drag the team kind of back. And you guys were only down, 6 points, even though it probably felt like more. You guys were right there going into that fourth quarter.
The first 3 quarters were rough, to say the least. And I was just doing anything to help my team out. Obviously, I started too late, and I need to show up for these type of games. But at the end of the day, we got to learn from this one, and this one hurts. So I am really mad right now. So I'm just trying to calm myself, and we got to move on because we got Rutgers on Sunday, and that's going to be another matchup that we got to focus on.
And from your perspective, going to that second quarter, what changed? It seems like their defense seemed to really kind of give you guys problems. It seemed like it was really hard to get any open looks that quarter.
I think we really kind of shot ourselves in the foot in the second quarter. I think it was more about us not matching up in transition or matching up with a hot hand on Indiana. I mean, credit to them though for hitting tough shots and getting to their hot hand, but I really think it was on us.
For either of you, what were the conversations that you guys were kind of having amongst yourselves on the sideline? Because again, we're talking about a loss and you guys not being happy with how you played. But again, like I said, you guys were right there, and it was only a stop and a couple buckets, and you guys were right there.
We just told ourselves that we kind of defeated ourselves. I'm not a testimony to IU. They were a great team. They did everything they had to do, but the turnovers, the being lax on defense, all the other stuff we had control over, and we didn't execute it, and they capitalized on it. So great to them, but we definitely have to go back to the drawing board and really go back to our identity and pass the ball and do stuff like that.
I know you probably don't want to talk about yourselves, but you did have a good game, a good bounce back one for you. What was working for you individually?
I think my mindset going in this game was just to start off with a clean slate. I was thinking of I've never been here before. I've never played in this historic arena, so I was like, the biggest thing I think for us, like as a collective, is we wanted to show who Maryland is, and we wanted to fight to the end.
And just the last one for either of you, what was this atmosphere like? I know, that's what all those big games earlier in the season has been for, to kind of prepare you guys for moments like this. But what did it feel like out there? Because it felt pretty,
It was pretty intense. It was high energy. Like I said, I've never played here before, so that was new. But and playing in a crowded gym isn't, but it was really loud and difficult to hear a lot.
It was a good crowd. Nothing we've never seen before. So their 6-man came to play, and it was good.
We have time for a couple on Zoom. Lauren, go ahead.
Hey, Diamond. In the first half, it seems it took you a long time to get going. What did they do that maybe caused you some trouble, and what did you do to get back going in the second half?
I don't just locked in. came back in the second half and just did me. I wouldn't say they really did anything. I mean, they played great defense. They were sagging off and stuff like that. And it took a minute for me to adjust to that. But other than that, I just got to come better and be more focused and stuff like that.
Let's go to Daniel next.
For Diamond, Grace Berger and Sydney Parrish both picked up their 4th fouls pretty early on in the 4th quarter, and they stayed in the game. Do you feel that you guys failed to capitalize on them both being at 4 fouls?
Yeah, shame on us.
What?
I was saying, yeah, shame on us for not taking advantage of that.
I mean, yeah, we definitely should have took advantage of that. But stuff happens. We got to move on. Can't dwell on that.
Let's go to Ian next.
This one's for Brene. Obviously, kind of, losses like this, they really sting. It's close right after the game is just finished. Can you talk a little bit about your mindset, just kind of how you try to approach like understanding this game, what went wrong, fixing it, and then moving on. So you're not dwelling on kind of a tough loss that I assume really stings.
Yeah, going into it, I just thought, this would be a good opportunity to, showcase what I can do. But at the same time, like top 10, like it's the best atmosphere you could ask for. It's conference game. I think it's a lot of pressure and it's a lot on the line. But like I said, we shot ourselves in the foot. And I think there's a lot of stuff that we learned from this game. And know that, we got to learn it. We got to get back to the drawing board, get back to practice, and move on.
Last question for the players. Go ahead, Dylan.
Hey Diamond. I'm just curious, like, what was the scouting report on Sydney Parrish and Mackenzie Holmes? Obviously, like, they're some of like their best players. I'm curious, like, from your approach, like, what was your approach in trying to defend them, and what was the scouting report like on the two of them?
Obviously, not to let Sydney Parrish go off. I don't know how many threes she had, but
3 for 7.
yeah, 3 for 7. Like she played really well. She shot the ball extremely well. And when a person is hot like that, we got to do a better job of not letting them continue to get hot. And once again, yeah, she went off on us. And Mackenzie Holmes is a great player. I didn't think we necessarily was going to stop her because, but we tried to limit her as best as we could. And yeah, it was Sydney Parrish shooting was impeccable today, and we didn't do a good job stopping her. So yeah.
Thanks, Diamond.
Thanks, ladies.
Thank you.
Oh gosh.
We're gonna take questions here in the room first for Brenda.
Going back to that second quarter, from your perspective, kind of what changed or what were they doing defensively? If you think it was something that they were doing that kind of got you guys a little bit out of sorts.
It was a really physical game. I don't think we adapted at all. I mean, they did a great job digging and being physical through, cutting and movement and digging the basketball every time you drove it. So they were the more aggressive team, and we didn't handle it well.
Do you feel like that kind of made you a little bit stagnant? Because talking about
Yeah.
the assists, it seemed all of a sudden the ball wasn't moving like it was.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen a spin dribble so many times in a game. We went away from, that because we didn't want the physicality. We, kind of, went and kind of hit a little bit. So, again, proud of our fight. We tied it there in the 4th quarter, and as poorly as we played tonight, that obviously that's not gonna get it done on the road. But we tried to find a way. But that second quarter was costly.
From your defensive perspective, how did Parrish kind of keep finding space?
Well, I mean, they have so many weapons. You look at 4 players in double figures, and you have your Mackenzie Holmes that you're trying to guard, and you're all American Grace Berger. So you're kind of picking and choosing who you can guard. So credit her. She made big plays. I thought Garzone, when she got some open looks, they were really tough shots. That tough timing when those went in. So just that they have a lot of weapons.
they do anything that made life specifically harder on Abby and Shy, or were those also just kind of, you know, some missed shots that they usually make?
Yeah, I thought we got some good looks. Yeah, there were uncharacteristic shots that weren't going down. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to go on the road when you have two players that were positive and the plus minus ratio of you've got to be able to find other ways.
For you, what's the biggest thing you take from tonight?
Oh, we got to be tougher. I mean, this is where Big Ten play is. Again, proud of our fight. It was a top 10 matchup. But we continued to have as poorly as we played in a lot of areas. We still gave ourselves a chance when we tied it. I just thought that they made a few more extra plays and possessions. I thought their experience won out with their roster, and but all areas for us to be able to go back and watch film and learn from on January 12th, so we don't repeat it.
It's good for me. Thank you.
Cool. Lauren, we'll go to Zoom.
Let's start with Olivia.
Hey, coach, I wanted to ask you about offensive rebounds. You guys struggled with those in the first half, especially. How do you think that impacted your game and limited your opportunity to get, second chance points and more opportunities to shoot the basket?
Yeah, again, we're tentative. We did a lot of watching on the perimeter, and I thought that was an area that we could have definitely, been able to give ourselves more extra opportunities, more shots at the rim. But when you stand out on the perimeter and don't crash, it makes it difficult.
Let's go to Brandon next.
Hey, coach. You mentioned it's a bit of a physical game. How do you feel your team adjusted to the physicality?
I thought we finally got there in the second half. It took us a while to, when we were, they kind of, went at us obviously in that second quarter, and we were on the back of our heels, but I thought we regrouped in the third quarter, and then to be able to tie it in the fourth quarter, I thought, we tried to battle.
Let's go to Daniel next.
Hey, coach, can you talk about how important Brene's 15 points were to you guys, with several of your other leading scorers not performing great this game?
Yeah, she was huge. I mean, Brene can really shoot the basketball. I thought she played with a lot of poise and confidence, and we needed every one of those 15 points with just some very uncharacteristic off nights that we had from the rest of our starting five.
Let's go to Ian next.
Hey, coach. Kind of a similar question to Brene. Obviously, you don't want, like, you want to kind of feel the loss. It's a stinging loss, but obviously Big Ten play is rolling on. The games don't stop. For you, kind of as a coach and amongst your staff, what's the thought process just of letting the players kind of feel the sting of the loss, but then moving on, and like, we got to get better, we have to improve, but like, we can't dwell on this. Like, we got to move forward. We have a bunch of games coming up.
Yeah, I mean, you have to. The Big Ten has too many great teams, too many games. We turn around and play on Sunday, with Rutgers. So you have to be able to kind of learn from these lessons that are being taught to us, and just try not to repeat them.
Thank you.
Let's go to Damon and wrap up with Dylan.
Hey, coach. How do you feel your team responded after, in the first half where you all weren't making as many shots, you all fought back, resiliently in the second half? How do you feel your team responded in the second half?
Yeah, I thought they were great. They showed a lot of fight that they could have easily have folded, and we just kept hanging around, and to be able to finally tie the game. And then I thought the effort and energy it took to kind of get ourselves back into it was the reason why we were so tired. Then once we tied the game, I think they went on a 7-0 run and hit some big shots from there. So just, again, that second quarter was costly, and areas that we can improve on.
Thank you.
Let's wrap up with Dylan.
Hey, coach. Curious about from a purely basketball perspective, why you guys struggled so much like with points in the paint. I know that Indiana really capitalized on that early on in the game, and you guys struggled a little bit from there. I'm curious, was anything Indiana throwing at you that made it particularly difficult?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was probably the disappointing thing. We knew they were going to sag off, they were going to collapse on every drive, and they were going to dig every time you put the ball on the floor. So we didn't take advantage of knowing how they were playing defensively, where we were going to get be able to take advantage. So that was impacted us a lot.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brenda.
Yep.